I'm going to give one main example of an organization that comes out of the evangelical Christian community that is takes very seriously the issue of conservation, climate change, environmental degradation. So I'm going to put on that hat, the Rocha hat. I'm going to tell you about that organization. And then I'm a professor at Redeemer University College in Hamilton, and I'll just say a little bit about what happens at Redeemer, which is a Christian liberal arts, a small Christian liberal arts university. So I'll sort of wear those two hats this morning. So Rocha, you can just keep it on this slide here. This is an international, global Christian conservation organization. And kind of its tagline is working to show God's love to all of creation. And kind of its main way of action is a commitment to environmental action through community-based conservation projects. Okay, so it's kind of coming up with choosing a community, gathering people around it, and having a project to focus on and do actual work, whether it's ecological restoration or conservation. Okay, so it's actually getting people on board with getting their hands dirty and doing actual conservation work, which begins to sort of it gives an opportunity for evangelicals and those who get involved to sort of put faith into action. Okay, and it is a young organization, so it was founded only in 1986 by some British sort of evangelical Anglican Christians who set up a bird field study center in Portugal as a way of doing mission, okay, which seems a bit odd in so many ways. But then you can maybe move to the next slide. This is a picture of the field study center in Portugal. And the name Rocha comes from the Portuguese word for the rock. Okay, and what happened is Christians from all over the world began to sort of come to this place and say, what a great idea to take my faith and action. And they went back to their home countries and said, we're going to do that too. So it was a multiplication. So if you move to the next slide, please. So there's projects now in 18 different countries sort of coming out of this original project in Portugal. Okay, so it's gone global. So just a few examples in France, Rocha France, their main focus, their project is to help landowners convert their farms back into wetlands. Okay, in Portugal, it's the protection of an estuary where they're located. In Kenya, the focus is on a coastal forest and trying to engage with the community there, not to cut down the forest, but actually to do ecotourism kind of things. Okay, so it's working with the people to protect the forest. Yeah, so next slide, please. So I'm going to focus a little bit about Rocha Canada. So again, a young organization. There's a field study center in Surrey, British Columbia, so just south of Vancouver. It's in a particular watershed called the Little Campbell River. Okay, and this field study center was only opened in November of 2003. Okay, and in 2007, another field study center sort of caught the bug and opened up in Manitoba, in the Pembina Valley. Okay, so there's these actual places where conservation work is done. And yeah, so next slide, please. So one of the things that is done in Rocha Canada is actual conservation and restoration work. So there is scientific research and conservation. That's one of the things we do. Restoration work, volunteers will come, and in the summertime, up to 70 people will come to a volunteer Saturday. Christians looking for a way to do something. So rebuilding a salmon stream, and working in a garden, and just all sorts of projects, and mobilizing people to do work. Next slide, please. In the Field Study Center in Vancouver, or outside of Vancouver, there is a large community garden, okay, and they produce annually 8,000 pounds of organic vegetables. Okay, so there's a head farmer and then volunteers who do organic farming and, in a sense, model other ways to live, other ways to do agriculture, and supporting a number of families, but also low-income families as a focus as well. Next slide, please. And then education is another huge factor of what's done at these field study centers. So school groups will come, do environmental education with students. And Rocha Canada also goes to summer camps and does environmental education. And we're looking at like 10,000 young people are having environmental education through Rocha's work every year. And then the other issue is, or the other thing that Rocha does is kind of adult education, so organizing conferences on faith and the environment, and going to churches, and there's a eco-congregations initiative to sort of engage church communities on this as well. And next slide, please. So Rocha is kind of started in Canada. It started in the West Coast. It's gone to Manitoba, and now Paul Abel, who sends his apologies on not being here. He'd probably be in my place. Rocha is having their staff retreat, their national staff retreat, this very same time. So I'm kind of their ringer, sort of brought in here to talk about it because they're all busy. But Paul is a stewardship coordinator here in Toronto. He is trying to mobilize Christians in Toronto to sort of sort of this multiplication factor that's happening with the Rocha. So he's got a nice, on one of our slides here, of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 initiatives that he is coordinating, so opportunities to do things. Okay, and he would love for people to get into contact with him. And again, there's a great DVD that's been produced. Introducing Rocha, but also why Christians should care for creation, a 15-minute video that is excellent. Okay, so if you want to talk more about that, you talk to me, and also Sherry Ann, who interned with Rocha last summer as a student. So we get student interns in to do various either conservation work or gardening work or education work. She spent 4 months there. So just, next slide, please. And I'll skip this one for now, because I'm going to run out of time. But the next one, I want to just put my Rocha hat down and put on my Redeemer University College hat and say a few things about what we're doing. So we're a Christian liberal arts institution with 900 students. So we're small. We're a small fish in the sea of Canadian higher education. But we offer a distinctively Christian university education, and I teach a course that's called it's Environmental Science 101, and it is the students at Redeemer get a holistic education. So if you're an English major, you're stuck taking 2 science courses whether you like it or not. Okay, and vice versa, if you're a science student, you're stuck taking philosophy or history or whatever, right? So it's a holistic education. So we get probably half of our student population goes through Environmental Science 101, and our aim is to make them ecologically literate, so they get understanding the science of pesticides, of acid rain, of climate change. How much sinks in, I'll find out when I mark their exams. Yeah. The second aspect is to sort of work, as Donna said, we start from biblical principles to say, this is what you are learning in this class. It should be part of your Christian life. So ecological literacy, and then an integration of faith and the environment. And this kind of way of doing education runs through all the courses we offer, whether it's history or philosophy. We sort of weave in a real hope, a lot of depth in our Christian scholarship.